So, welcome back to the channel. And here we go again with part 2 of the customer organisation roles and responsibilities. And I want to talk about the remaining 5 roles that I didn't cover in part 1. If you didn't see part 1, I'll put a link in the description below, and then you can go and have a look at that, because it is important that you understand all of the different roles that are involved. So the roles that I'm going to talk about in this video are business owner, domain architect, C3 executive sponsor, C3 team lead, and IT operations. Now, straight into exam tip 1. As I go through these roles, try to remember the key responsibilities of each role, as the question in the certification is likely to focus along the lines of what role provides this function, and they'll tell you a function that you then need to associate with the role. So with that in mind, let's get into the first role that I want to talk about today, which is business owner. Now, the business owner must have the seniority to act as the voice of the customer and will be responsible for the delivery and ongoing evolution of the business capability. In order to do this, the business owner must have a very clear vision and be able to communicate that vision of the product goal to everyone that's involved in the delivery, both the delivery partner and the internal customers. So with this knowledge, it would appear, in my mind at least, that the business owner must participate in the development of the overall requirements and planning sessions and guide the engagement in the delivery of the products required to make the engagement a success. The business owner needs to be available throughout the engagement and able to provide on-demand guidance to the delivery organisation or the delivery partner and the internal teams as and when that is required. So business tip 1. In my view, like I say, the business owner should have an ongoing interest in the capability being delivered beyond the end of the engagement. In this way, the business owner has some skin in the game. They have an incentive and a vested interest in getting things right. Now, the second role I want to talk about is the domain architect. Now, you may ask the question, what's the difference between a solution architect and a domain architect? And that's a good question. So let me try and explain. A solution architect will normally oversee a complete solution, including all of the different technology stacks that make up a solution. And different areas of the business will be involved in providing a solution through the domain architect, who focuses on one particular area of the business and the data used in that area. Now, a domain architect, of course, could be something like a domain security architect or a domain integration architect, or a particular product used by the organization, such as Salesforce Service Cloud. So the domain architect has an interest and an expertise in a particular domain, and a solution architect has an interest across those domains. So with this definition, I hope you can see that this will certainly be a customer organization role, and the solution architect may need to consult with a number of domain architects in order to build their solution. Now let's move on to the next one, the C3 executive. So the C3 executive sponsor has to be, and it just has to be, a senior role in the customer organisation. They are going to be responsible for securing the funding for the engagement and further development of the capability. They will also be responsible for the overall success of the C3, which, and I suppose I would say this being an operational C3 lead, is central to the success of the capability. The C3 executive sponsor will also be responsible for providing senior management support and oversight, and also providing guidance. Now, the C3 team lead is where my current role sits, and from experience I can say that the role has many and varied responsibilities. That's in my organisation, but we'll talk more about that later. So, business tip 2. I'll talk about the role of the C3 in future videos, as I've said, but it's very important at the start of the engagement to clearly understand the expected role of the C3, where it will sit within the organisation, how it will be funded, how it's going to be staffed, and how it's going to be operated. You need to get these things sorted out at a very early point in the engagement. Now, the C3 lead needs to possess many skills with some level of technical knowledge, but more importantly, in my view at least, the ability to communicate and evangelise and to manage a team of people to deliver the expected outcomes. This is a senior role within the organisation, and personally I felt a need to gain my MuleSoft certifications in order to understand all of the roles within the Centre for Enablement. Now, the C3 team lead will need to provide oversight on all the C3 activities to relevant stakeholders and ensure the availability and required skill level of the core C3 team, and plan and maintain the work required of the C3 team. That includes ongoing training as well. So the C3 team lead really will act as the point of contact for communication between the C3, its stakeholders, while assuming responsibility for the ongoing operation of the C3. This will include being responsible for all assets owned by the C3 and evangelisation of all of the different aspects of the C3, such as reusable components, documentation of APIs, the capabilities provided by the C3, and the wider integration team as a whole. Now finally, I'm going to come to IT operations. Again, this will sit firmly in the customer organisation and will be responsible for providing secure network support for platform and project configuration using the organisation's best practices. IT operations will engage in discussions on the organisation's operational architecture while providing general network and system access support during the implementation phases of the engagement, and then will deliver ongoing operational support once the engagement has completed and the delivery organisation has either left or continued in a post-implementation role in some form. Okay, so we come to the end of the organisational roles and responsibilities, and also the end of this section on defining Catalyst engagements. So I just want to give a quick word of caution here. I've discussed what the Catalyst course provides and given some of my own views. However, each engagement will be different, whilst the overall principles remain the same. As I've said, each role can be held by one person, or one person can hold more than one role. It really depends on skill levels and your organisational structure. The roles and responsibilities can obviously be different in each engagement, and each organisation must seek to find what works for them. If it works, keep on doing it. If it doesn't work, then change it and try something else. And so the final business tip in this section, business tip 3, at the start of each engagement, spend some time on defining and agreeing the desired business outcomes. We've said this a number of times now, and how they will be measured. So business outcomes and KPIs for measuring them. Once you have this, then look carefully at how the staffing is going to be achieved given those desired outcomes. Will the delivery organisation stay on after the completion of the engagement? And if so, in what role? If they're going to leave, then how will the organisation staff take the capability forward And how will education, training and mentoring work within the organisation going forward? What funding will be required for training, and what recruitment may be required for the capability going forward? Will an integrated team structure work, or do the delivery and organisational teams need to be kept separate? These questions are easy to overlook when focusing on the introduction of a capability, but they're also a consideration when undertaking an in-flight Catalyst engagement. So you may have the capability already running, and you may then start another Catalyst engagement to either change something, improve something, or introduce a new MuleSoft or Salesforce capability. Remember, the Catalyst applies to all products. So that's the end of this video. The next time, in the next video, we'll start to look at adapting the Catalyst to common delivery methodologies. And I'll start to look at how the Catalyst methodology can be used with common delivery methodologies such as Agile and Waterfall, Scaled Agile Framework, and a number of others. So hopefully you've liked this video. If you have, then please hit that like button. It costs nothing to subscribe, and it would be appreciated if you did hit that subscribe button. But whichever way, I hope to see you again in the next video. So bye for now.